Welcome back, everybody. So I have a really exciting video today for you. Now, part of coaching and mentoring an audience on financial related topics is helping people to understand who you can listen to and who you can't listen to, especially amongst talking heads in the media. So one of my favorite people that I've wanted to discuss for a long time is CNBC's Jim Cramer. So you probably notice if you follow financial markets at all that this guy's wrong almost all the time. And I can't actually think of a time that he's ever been right on anything. And I'm sure, this video might be a little controversial and I may get some commenters that may point out sometimes that he has been right. But this video is going to focus on several big things that Mr. Cramer has been wrong about. And I'm going to start out with an article from benzinga.com. Seems like a good source here. I've heard that this outlet has ads on my channel. So Benzinga watches my videos and wants to sponsor me. My email is in the channel description. So that would be cool. But without further ado, so this article is really good, talking about 5 times Jim Cramer was wrong. And rest assured, by the end of this video, we'll probably name more than 5 times that he's been wrong, but let's just focus on this for now. So Jim Cramer, host of CNBC's Mad Money for an astonishing 18 seasons, has served as the receiving end of many jokes. And this was written this year, so wow, 18 seasons. Brief history of him. He actually graduated with a law degree from Harvard, which is impressive. But he didn't practice law. Instead, he got a job at Goldman Sachs. And I believe he worked for a hedge fund and he was like a floor trader. So, I mean, he's got an impressive resume, but a lot of the stuff he says on his show is not exactly accurate. So anyway, some more history there. So here are sometimes he's made wrong calls. Hewlett-Packard, he urged listeners to dump Hewlett-Packard stock in 2012, citing broken corporate culture. Within 6 months of his recommendation, the stock went up 110%. Netflix, and this isn't the first time he's been wrong on Netflix. Some of you may recall he made quite a recommendation at the beginning of this year to buy Netflix, and Netflix dropped at least 50% since then. We'll pull it up to be exact, but this was in 2012. Cramer pounded the table with a sell notice on Netflix November 2nd, 2012, before it moved 174% higher within 6 months of the call. And interestingly, I looked at the history of Netflix. A purchase on Netflix in August of 2012, when it was trading for $7 or $8 a share, if somebody had put like 10 or 15,000, they could have had like $1 million with that because the stock moved up so high. So let me just see real quick. I think that was 20,000, just say 8. And then the stock was trading at like 500. So yeah, that would have been 1.25 million over the course of 10 years, less than 10 years, because the stock has tanked since then. And then Best Buy, also in the year 2012, he voiced an exit notice on Best Buy. Within 6 months of the call, Best Buy was up 124%. So not just being wrong, but being really wrong, but it gets better. Kohl's, he set a buy rating on April 7th, 2015. Within 6 months, Kohl's shares were trading 41% lower. Corvo, same year. Wow, he's had a lot of mistakes in the same years. Within 6 months of him setting a buy rating, shares were trading almost 38% lower. Wow. So if you listen to him, if you watch his show, I guess just do the opposite of what he says. That's what I've found. When he makes a recommendation, just do the opposite of it and you'll be fine. Like if it says buy something, go long on something, short it, and you should be fine. I actually, as a side note, when I first started following financial markets, I did watch his show, and he's had some little cameos in movies and stuff like that. Like he was in the first Iron Man. He has that scene with the coffee cup and the baseball bat where he bashes Stark Industries, fictional company. And when I followed him at first, I guess I was impressed without knowing anything, and I actually tried out his service that he has, and where you see his like charitable portfolio, and it was very disappointing at the time. And I wasn't even an experienced investor at the time, but I was outperforming his portfolio at the time. And to think people pay for that, just to see that, it's crazy. So from then on, I was kind of disappointed, and I just saw how consistently wrong this guy's been. And I don't mean this as an attack video. I don't want people to be led astray, because when you see people in the media, you think that there's some trustworthiness there. When someone has a big show on TV and a big following, you think that you can trust them. But in this case, I would have to disagree with that notion. So let's see. So those are the 5 that this article has, but it gets better. Now I'm going to go to a site called Quora. This post, how can Jim Cramer be wrong so many times and still have a financial show? This person says because he's a stock market tout and an investment advisor, his job is to get the day traders riled up, buying and selling, churning investment accounts, making investing look as exciting as a casino, rather than boring exercise in statistics and economic fundamentals. Well, that sounds kind of cynical. This one says he's not in the investment business, he's in the news and entertainment business. But still, I mean, don't mislead people. I mean, he flat out says that he thinks this stock's a buy, he thinks this one is a sell. And I've got a couple of better ones coming that I haven't addressed the big one yet. This one says, because the point of a show like Cramer isn't being right, it's selling advertising, kind of like we do on YouTube. But there's a lot of people on YouTube also that may mislead people, but I would never want to do that. I mean, anytime I talk up a stock or, anything, it's because I personally believe in it. I don't believe in misleading people. And to a degree, I'll call out other people that mislead people, including talking heads in the media. How about this one? This guy says, my wife lost $100,000 from his buy or regret stock. How bad? Every stockbroker that recommended that stock was sued and lost. Interesting. Okay. Now let's look at the big one. The big one, and this was in 2008. 2008, when the last Great Recession was beginning and the economy was starting to crash. This is what he said.
Okay, Peter writes, should I be worried about Bear Stearns in terms of liquidity to get my money out of there? No. Bear Stearns is fine. Do not take your money out.
So in 2008, he said Bear Stearns was fine. Any of us following the markets now, is Bear Stearns around anymore? No, they're not. Well, they got bought up, but he was recommending them as a buy. So was he right or wrong on that? I have to give him the buzzer on that. And here's what he said from there. Come on.
If there's one takeaway other than a plus 400 somewhere, Bear Stearns is not in trouble. I mean, if anything, they're more likely to be taken over. Trouble. Don't move your money from Bear.
So he got that part right. They're more likely to be taken over because
that's just being silly. Don't be silly.
6 days later.
Okay, just so you get a sense of what's causing the agony by this point, I know you've been talking about it. It's financials led by Bear Stearns after what essentially is a bailout from the Fed. Bear Stearns shares are down 90% this morning, and it's not just Bear. Pretty much every single bank is plunging.
So he said not to worry, and Bear Stearns shares fell 90%. And I've actually met people that lost their entire retirements in Bear Stearns. So Bear Stearns got bought up cheap by JP Morgan before they went bankrupt. If they didn't get bought up, they were going bankrupt. And this guy, talking head on the media, said to not worry about Bear Stearns. So that is the big one. And then more recently, another favorite, January 3rd, 2022, buy Netflix. And what has Netflix done since he said buy it? Well, those of us that follow, we know it's absolutely tanked. And let's just look at the chart. Let's go right to the point where he said to buy it. And you're going to see that whenever he says buy something, and again, I haven't, off the top of my head, I haven't seen a time that he's been right on anything. It could just be that the wrongs are more egregious and stand out in my mind. And I'm sure I may get some comments that say, this guy's a genius. He's been right and you just don't know it. But I've seen him wrong most of the time. So let's look here. This is November. Anyone that was thinking about buying Netflix in 2021, aren't you glad you didn't? When it was like $500 and it kept going up and it went up to 600. Could you imagine having bought here and then seeing where it is now? That would have been a huge, huge loss. So let's look at year to date. So when Mr. Cramer said buy, it was already starting to drop. So it dropped from $6.90 a share and it dropped down to $5.41, and he said to buy it. So ever since he said to buy it, it's gone down from $5.41 to $174. So that is a loss of $367 or 68% since he said buy. So again, if you had done the opposite and you had shorted this, if you had taken out a put against this, you would have done great. You would have had 68% upside doing the opposite of what he said. So I just want to point that out. There are a lot of talking heads in the media that have a very large presence, and it's easy to look at them on TV and think, wow, this person has this big show. They must know what they're talking about. Well, not always, but there are some good people that are in the financial media, obviously. And every time I do a video like this where I kind of criticize something, I like to point out good alternatives. So what I see from what I follow, I would pitch TD Ameritrade. They have their own network. If you have the Amazon Fire Stick, you can download the app. They have like a 24-hour running network. Of course, it's reruns at a certain point. Like once you've watched for a few hours, it all kind of repeats, but really good, really solid commentary. And they even give trading ideas on there for free. Big fan of Ameritrade. And then Fox Business. I like Charles Payne, Larry Kudlow, Stuart Barney, all those people on that network. I think they're all really good. Now, that network does get a bit political sometimes, which, you know, I would rather just hear financial and market commentary and not the politics as much. Sometimes I have to turn it off because I just don't want to hear the political aspect. All I want to think about, whether I agree or disagree, just I want to know how to make money. And I think most people that are in this niche and in this field, that's what we're concerned about. We want to make money. We don't really care about the political headlines, just how does it make us money? But those three, I think, are solid. And I'm sure they've said things wrong in the past, but more often than not, they have really good, really solid commentary. And I enjoy that network, and I enjoy the TD Ameritrade network. So hope you enjoyed that. I've been wanting to do that video for a while about Mr. Cramer, and hope I wasn't too rough, but I'm just being honest. If you like that, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and keep an eye out for my next 2 videos coming, because we're at the end of the month. I'm going to update my monthly revenue. I'm going to do a video again on how I've done this month, and that's going to be really exciting. I've learned a lot this month, seeing a lot of really awesome indicators on this channel, a lot of green shoots, I guess you could say, and really encouraging on that. Then probably before then, maybe tomorrow, I'll try to have this out. The QYLD monthly dividend update, that dropped again, of course. And but it's still solid, but I'm going to talk about where I think that's going and why it's dropping and some good ideas on that. So those are the next 2 videos coming. Keep an eye out for those. And thanks for watching again, and take care.